Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this live section. So Nnamdi Kanu has no case to answer IPOB claims federal government. Yes, everybody knows that Kanu is innocent of the allegation by Nigerian government. They said he's a terrorist and yet they cannot prove that he's a terrorist. So Kanu is innocent of all the allegations by Nigerian government. So Kanu has no case to answer IPOB claims federal government. Is self-determination a crime? Is self-preservation is it a crime? Is self-preservation a crime? Is self-determination a crime? It's not a crime. Self-defense is not also a crime. So why is the federal government still, keeping him in DSS custody? These people, are just wasting his time, dragging him to court for no reason. He has no case to answer. This is what IPOB is telling the federal government, that Kanu is innocent of all the allegations against him, and therefore he should be released. Everyone is not showing interest in this matter, Nnamdi Kanu's case, both foreigners. Just the last time, an Indian lawyer, talked against the injustice of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and the Igbos. For a very long time now, everyone knows that Nigeria has an Igbo problem. And because of that, they are migrating Igbos, sidelining one particular tribe, and condemning another tribe. That is the kind of problem Nigeria has. Nigeria has an Igbo problem. That is why you will not see an Igbo person as the president. Tell me how many Igbo presidents we have had since, tell me how many Igbo presidents that Nigeria has have. Not even two or three. You will barely see an Igbo person in the National Assembly. Yes, when you check the Minister of Agriculture, the EFCC, JSSDG, you will not see an Igbo person in that position, because Nigeria has an Igbo problem. So the IPOB are telling the federal government that, and the international community, that Kanu has no case to answer. They should come out and say that self-determination is a crime. They should come out and say that self-determination is a crime. Please, it's people that know the law. These people make the law, but they are the ones that use their hand to, they're the ones that use the hand to break the law. These people make law, but they don't even know what they are doing. Is self-determination a crime? That's the same thing Sunday Igboho did too. And so the Igboho's case is even more worse, because when they went to his house, they saw arms. They saw weapons. But that is terrorism. So you can see, Nnamdi Kanu, he has not been found with any arms or weapon. That man has nothing to do with killings or kidnapping. But still, they went to arrest him. What does this tell you? Because he's an Igbo man. That is why he's being treated like this. But look at Sunday Igboho. There is also agitating for Yoruba people. There is also saying that they want their nation. What happened? They released him, and his own case, they found they found weapons in his house. When DSS went to search his house, they found weapon. But yes, this man today is traveling from one country to another, walking about freely. This is the same person that was, asking for self-determination. But look at, because Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo man, that is why they have held him there. Please, self-determination is not a crime. They should go and check. This is a violation of Nnamdi Kanu's rights. It's not a crime. This is just like, intimidating his rights. And that is why they should release him and compensate him for keeping him there for so long. Kanu has no case to answer. IPOB claims federal government. Okay, since they have been doing this DSS witness of a thing, what can they show? What can they prove that, yes, this man is a terrorist? They cannot prove. The judge has said it. DSS, your evidences, they are enough, but none can prove that this man is a terrorist. So why are you still keeping him here? Why would they obey the court rulings to release? Because Nnamdi Kanu has been acquitted. Why is it they don't want to obey it and bail this man, let him go, let him do his thing? Until these things becomes a crime, until self-determination becomes a crime, that is when Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is going to go to jail. But for now, self-determination is not a crime. They should check their constitution. They know this constitution, where people that claim that they are law practitioners, but no, they don't know anything in the law. Abi, they know, but because of he's an Igbo man, that is why they will still keep him there, pretending as if they don't know the law. They don't know that it is violation of his human rights. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu have suffered. But one thing is, even as he's in that place, he doesn't even, he's always standing on his rights. You cannot see him back out. Just like recently, we are hearing that Simeon Ekpa said is not the prime minister of IPOB, that he's a content creator. No one knows whether that thing is true, because now that there's something AI cannot do in this world. There's something AI cannot do, because this same Simeon Ekpa used to come out, to give orders concerning IPOB, to give orders concerning Biafra. So me, I know that there's something Nigerian government will not do to make sure that Biafra doesn't come to a reality. So that allegation, nobody know if it's true. But what I'm trying to say now is that despite everything, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still standing. He can never come and say that he's not the leader of, IPOB because of his scared. No, no, no. He cannot try that. He always stands for his right because he knows that he's innocent. So Kanu has no case to answer. They're just keeping him there for nothing. He has just been there for nothing. An innocent man. He's not a terrorist. You cannot say you have found any weapon with him, or he has people has come out to say that this man has been terrorizing us, or his fellow terror. No, no, no. You have not found it since how many years he has been in DSS custody. These people cannot prove that this is what he did. Why are they still keeping him there? He has no case to answer. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has no case to answer. Guys, take a look at this video. This man said a lot of things about Biafra people. Guys, take a look.
You see, if he says it's a difficult war that they had to prosecute, for me, it's neither here nor there.
Wow. Wow, one's comment.
You see, if he says it's a difficult war that they had to prosecute, for me, it's neither here nor there. We have seen countries break in history, even in recent times. Sudan and South Sudan broke up and they're still there. Eritrea broke up from Ethiopia and they're still there. In Great Britain, Ireland broke up and they're still there. Semi-autonomy is given to Scotland and Wales. They're still there. So, if these people are resolute and they feel they can stand on their own, we would have just resolved it amicably and let Biafra stand. Perhaps today we will not be talking about all these problems we have in Nigeria today, because at the end of the day, everybody will grow at its own pace. And I can tell you for free that if that thing had happened at that time, perhaps the Southern Protectorate would have come together, using leverage on the weaknesses and strengths, using the SWOT analysis to come as a confederacy with a very weak center, and all the regions would have developed at its own pace. Maybe by now, the southeastern part of this country would have emerged as Singapore.
Okay, let's move away from that story because of time. Let's talk about the stance of the IPOB, because they are not going to stop talking anytime soon. Do you think the Nigerian government has been complicit in IPOB's claim of judicial bias and oppression, particularly in the case of Nnamdi Kanu's detention and prosecution?
You see, for me, Nnamdi Kanu's case is to some extent sub judice now, because it's in the open court and the trial has been ongoing. And the way we are trained in journalism is anything that is in the open court, you are not supposed to comment directly on it. But indirectly, we are looking at political issues. The truth about it is, I would suggest, it's a speedy trial now. I would suggest that we wait until the outcome and the resolution of this matter through the law, so that we can put... I like that statement made by the spokesperson. Powerful. That they are not seeking mercy, they are seeking justice. And that's the route this case is taking. Whatever judgment that is passed becomes a permanent resolution.
But the same Powerful has come to say that Nnamdi Kanu does not have a case to answer. He said that there's no case to answer as far as they are concerned. And in your words, yes, you agree with what he has said, that they are not seeking mercy. It's about justice, which should be the way to go. But how about the implication of this continued detention on Nigeria's national unity and stability?
As a matter of fact, I can tell you that the way the accelerated trial is going on, in matter of maybe 1 month or 2 months, they should have concluded this case and passed judgment.
Ideally. But do you see that happening?
I'm seeing it because they go to court almost every day now.
With a lot of evidences and counter evidences, with all of that coming.
In fact, it's like anytime from now, if they resume, maybe tomorrow, in the next 1 week, the prosecution will close its case. And once it closes its case, the defense will come up, and in no time, the evidence against Kanu had been put forward. It is for the defense counsels to do what is right by cross-examining those people, and which they have started. So they will also bring up their own defense, and in no time, I am seeing this case being closed by next month.
Okay, let's talk about the government's response and international community. Emma Powerful has made a strong allegation saying that for the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whoever it is that is encouraging the president to shy away from this case or not, have whatever authority he can to put on the case to ensure there's hastened prosecution, trial and judgment at the end of the day. Those are allegations according to some analysts. But what step do you think that the Nigerian government could take to address IPOB's demands and concerns, particularly regarding Nnamdi Kanu's release and the treatment of the Igbo people? Because it's sort of dicey at a time like this, because there are a larger population who will still come out to tell you that they are not part of the people seeking for a Biafra nation. So what can the government do?
You see, initially, my position on this issue is for us to find political solution to it. The critical stakeholders in the southeast part of the country coming to see how they can talk government into ensuring that this thing is settled amicably and can be released so that he can reunite with his family and and continue with his life. But over time, it took a lot of efforts from few genuine Southeasterners who are not playing politics with the detention of Kanu. Perhaps if the major stakeholders in the Southeast had been united in the real sense of it to ensure that they come to whoever has the power to use political solution to resolve this matter, maybe Kanu would have even probably returned to Britain, where he's a citizen. But we have seen it, and governors in the Southeast have even said it on different occasions, that politicians are the reasons why Kanu is still in detention.
But if you say that people are playing politics with it, does that not further back the position of those that say that the call for a Biafra nation is not a general call from the Igbo descendants?
Now, you see, if Satan, as depicted in the Bible, comes to Nigeria today and proclaims himself Satan, he will have fellowship. I hope you know that. So the same way, not everybody in Biafra who is of Biafra extraction will believe in this cause. Just like when OPC started their wahala, Southwesterners didn't believe in this cause. As a matter of fact, as I sit here, when they went to say they wanted to overthrow government, when they went to Agodi about 2 years ago on a Saturday, when the house was not sitting, when the governor was not sitting, I looked at them as crazy, mad people. And so I was on television in another program, and I said those guys should not be let off the hook, that they should be arrested and probably charged for treason, because it doesn't really make any sense. Violence is not the only way you can get what you want. there's a way you pile pressure in such a way that people will know that, look, enough is enough. We need to listen to these people. So, for me, you are not going to have 100% Igbo extraction believing in that cause. But I can tell you, if they succeed tomorrow, you'll be shocked that those who didn't believe in it will be the one to say, yes, on Biafra we stand.
Wow.
So, for me, two things. Nnamdi Kanu, his life should not be placed on the altar of politics, selfish interest, enlightened selfish interest. They should know that blood runs in the veins of this young man, and that his wife is suffering, his children are suffering, they have emotional imbalance that may live, the trauma may live with them for a long while.
Which will continue to threaten the unity of the nation.
And it will also continue to threaten, because these people, they know Nnamdi Kanu is no longer Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is the icon, symbol of the Biafra nation. And so anything done to him affects the psychology of
every person that identifies with that.
You understand? So the earlier this case is dispensed with, the better for Nigeria to have peace. But that does not mean that the release of Kanu will automatically stop agitation. Because
so, guys, he heard what that man said. That man said a lot of things. He talked about Nnamdi Kanu's release, saying that ever since they have been dragging him to court, that DSS can't say or prove why they are still keeping him there. He even said there is improvement in his trial, just like now that he goes to court almost every day, saying that he said that very soon Nnamdi Kanu will be released because they now go to court every day. He was saying that in 2 months or in 1 month's time that Nnamdi Kanu is going to be released because of the improvement in court now, because the judge has said that they want to round up with this case, because this has been, they have been on this trial for so many years now. So Justice Omotosho said he wants to round up with the case so that they will free him, so they'll give their last judgment. That was what Justice Omotosho told DSA. Are they not done with their evidence? So they can round up, and DSA that know that they know what they are doing. That the only thing they can bring is lies, say that they are not done, they still have more evidence. Why the 1,000 evidence they are brought, none can still show that this man is a terrorist. And also this man talked about there are some parts of Igbo, because in Igbo land, it's not everyone that is supporting Biafra. It's not everyone, but I would say majority of the Igbos are supporting Biafra because of what is happening in this country, or because of the ones that are bribed, because there are some Igbo people that are not supporting Biafra. Yes, example is some of the southern governors, they are against it because of their selfish interest. Let me just say it that way. There are some people in Igbo land that are against it, but you will see that when this Biafra will come to reality, once this Biafra will succeed, you will see those people that said they were against Biafra will now start supporting Biafra. That is what this man said. Those people that were against Biafra, because when you come to Igbo land, you will see that some southern governors, like Hope Uzodinma, these people are against Biafra. They don't want to use their ear to hear anything about Biafra. This is people that are supposed to be writing to Tinubu, saying that they should release Nnamdi Kanu, they should, show interest. Is now Indians, is now Prime Minister of Israel that is now showing interest. Why, Southern governors, the brothers of Nnamdi Kanu, is supposed to be showing interest? What does this tell you? It is now foreigners that are now showing interest for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. But you see, once this Biafra succeed, those people, you see this whole person that said that is against Biafra, you will now see him, put full interest in Biafra. So you can see what is happening. So this man said those people that are against Biafra, that very soon, once this IPOB succeed, because it is looking like Biafra will come to reality, because even Nigerian governments, they are tired. After doing all they can do, these people there's nothing they have not done to Nnamdi Kanu to make sure that he back out. Yes. There's nothing that they have not done to him. Is it to put him in the dungeon Eh? There's nothing they have not done, both DSS and Nigerian government, to make sure that that man back out. But this is the only thing. Mazen and the Kanu cannot back out for any reason. He has said it. He said that he's already dead. In an interview, when he was asking about someone was asking, how about your life? Are you not scared of your life, or are you not scared of being by? But then he said he's already dead. That as he is like this, there's already dead. There's only Biafra that can, revive him. That he's not scared of his life. That is why you will see him standing of his right. He's not even scared. He's always, standing by his right. That is who you can call a leader. That's who you can, even with everything Nigerian government are doing to him, even the DSS, but still, he doesn't even care. Like as far as he's doing this thing for his people, they are just doing all they can, but he's still there, standing by his right. That is why I said Tinubu cannot face Biafran government at all. And the way it's going, it's as if Biafra will come to a reality. Even this man has said it, saying that that very soon they'll round up his case in 1 month or 2 months time. They are going to round up this case, and then they'll give their last judgment. So let's continue watching of what this man said.
Back to the People's Voice, we are discussing the latest developments surrounding the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, and their leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Comrade Ima Powerful, who is IPOB's publicity secretary, has reiterated that Kanu has no case to answer despite the ongoing prosecution. Powerful argued that the continued prosecution of Kanu on charges of treasonable felony and terrorism is a gross violation of his fundamental rights. He emphasized that the federal government, through the Federal High Court, had previously ruled the IPOB is a lawful organization, and that the fabrication of terrorism charges is a desperate attempt to silence the Biafran struggle. Even though there's been a lot of evidence that have been tendered in the case recently, he still maintained his claims. The IPOB spokesperson highlighted that the abuse of the judicial process in Kanu's case, particularly in the use of civil procedure to overturn a valid judgment in a criminal trial. He said this has exposed Nigeria's judiciary as a tool of oppression rather than a bastion of justice. Speaking about justice, he said that they are not demanding for mercy. Powerful stressed that IPOB is not begging for mercy but demanding justice for Kanu and the Biafran people. He emphasized that Kanu's detention is an attack on justice, truth, and the rule of law, and that the Nigerian state's actions risk destroying its global reputation. Despite the challenges, Powerful expressed confidence in Kanu's unwavering resolve and devotion to the Biafran cause. He warned that those encouraging the Tinubu regime to persist in this path do not wish Nigeria well and underestimate the unyielding spirit of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Well, interesting times are here. Joining me now to discuss IPOB's recent statements and the implications for Nigerian politics and the judiciary.
So guys, you heard that, IPOB told the federal government that he has no case to answer. And then one thing that man mentioned is that he talked about his wife, he talked about that. I mean, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's mission is not, selfish. He's not a selfish person. He has sacrificed himself to do this thing for his people. Unless Nigerian government not forget that he has wife, he has children. They are passing through many things, they are traumatized because of, the father or the husband has been there for so long, guys. So you can imagine how the wife and the family will be traumatized because of this, Biafran thing. So the federal government doesn't want to even look at that fact to release that man at least. But then, because of he's an Igbo man, they have kept him there, like abandoned him. This is how bad they treat Igbos. Abandon them there for nothing. What's the main thing? Just abandon them for nothing. Let's look at this article that Ima Powerful said. He said he has told the federal government that you see Kanu doesn't have any case to answer. You guys are just wasting his time by dragging him to court. They've already said he should be acquitted. And then you call him a terrorist, you can't prove that he's a terrorist. Now the Kanu has no case to answer. IPOB tells Nigerian government and international community. Reading on, it says the group said the continued prosecution of Kanu on bogus charges bordering on treasonable felony and terrorism is a gross violation of his fundamental rights. The Indigenous People of Biafra has again reached out to the international community and the Nigerian government, insisting that its leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is a prisoner of conscience and has no case to answer. So now, the charges bordering on treasonable felony and terrorism, the charges against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a violation of his human rights. Yes, because they said he's a terrorist and they cannot still prove after how many years that he's a terrorist. That is to tell you that this man is innocent. They are purposely keeping him there because they know that they cannot face Biafran government. Why is Sunday Igboho not in the prison? Why is he not in DSS custody? He also committed treason and also terrorism. Why hasn't been released? This is to tell you that Nigeria has an Igbo problem. So the group said, so Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a prisoner of conscience and he has no case to answer. This is what the federal government is this is what IPOB is telling the federal government. So the group said the continued prosecution of Kanu on bogus charges bordering on treasonable felony and terrorism is a gross violation of his fundamental rights. IPOB stated this in a statement signed by its media and publicity secretary, Emma Powerful, on Saturday in Abuja. Reading on, it says, IPOB said it was not begging for mercy but demanded for justice. Yes, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has said it even in his court section. He said, I am not begging for you to release me. I'm not begging for mercy or for you to have mercy upon me and release me. No, he demands justice because he's innocent. He did not do anything. He said nobody should beg for his release. That was what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said. Nobody should beg for my release because I didn't do anything. Self-determination is not a crime. Yes, self-determination is not a crime. He did not do anything, so nobody should beg for beg for mercy or beg for his release. He demands justice, and that is why he should be released because he's innocent. So reading on, it says the statement read in parts. We call on Nigerians, the international community, and all lovers of justice to heed this clarion call. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has no case to answer. The continued persecution of our leader is not only a gross violation of his fundamental rights, but also an indictment of Nigerian judiciary, which has descended into a cell pool of judicial terrorism and criminal dereliction of duty. Now, the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has only exposed Nigerian judicial system. Yes, their corrupt judicial system. That is the only thing it has exposed. They just exposed that you say judiciary, they are criminals. They are criminals. Once you pocket them, once you give them money, they will just obey your command. Because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been acquitted. Why is he still there? Why have they not released him? Why have they not granted him bail? That is what court judgment said. They said you can grant this man bail because it's not like he killed anyone. It's not like he killed anyone or he shot anyone. Just that he's saying, doing his fundamental human right, exercising his right to. I've not seen this kind of thing in any country, that this country cannot just obey court ruling, cannot just obey the constitution. The people that set it, the people that has placed the law or that made the law cannot still obey the law. Hey, honestly, corruption has eaten up Nigeria. So the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has just exposed Nigeria's judicial system. How has exposed corruption in Nigeria's judicial system. So reading on, it says, for too long, Nigerians have been misled by a false narrative propagated by the Nigerian state and its complicit media, claiming that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu faces charges on terrorism and on treason or terrorism. Let us set the record straight. The treasonable felony charges against our leader were struck out years ago when the former Attorney General Abubakar Malami realized the case was unwinnable. No treason was committed. You see why I said that Nigerians cannot obey church and judge and court rulings. So a mapper office is trying to say that these people that said that Nigerians have been misled for so many years now, that this man committed treason. Now, what is treason? Agitating, like, saying that you want to secede. Saying that you want to secede. So now, is it not the right of Mazen Kanu to say that he wants his own nation, that he wants Igbo to go? It is actually his right to do that. He's just exercising his fundamental human right. And then for the terrorism, they have not seen this man with weapons before. Nobody has said that he killed his brother, or he killed his sister, or he killed his mother or parent. Nobody has come out to say he killed his loved one. They have not found any terrorism case with him. So why is it they are still keeping him there? So what Nigerian government now do is, if they launch attack, if they send these Fulani terrorists to come and terrorize the East, they will now label it to IPOB, so that they will now think, the courts will now think that IPOB is a terrorist group. You see the way Nigeria is working towards making sure that Biafra doesn't come to reality. Anything happening in the southeast based on insecurity, attacks by Fulani people, they will not say it is IPOB. They will say why they can't even prove that this attack was launched by IPOB or Eastern Security Network. They can't even prove. So for long, these people don't obey church court rulings. For so long, Nigerians have been misled by a false narrative propagated by the Nigerian state and its complicit media, claiming that Martin and Kano faces charges on terrorism treason or terrorism. Let us set the record straight. The treasonable felony charges against our leader was struck out. Was struck out years ago when the former Attorney General Abubakar Malami realized the case was unwinnable. No treason was committed. So the treason charges has been struck out years ago when Attorney General Abubakar Malami, realized that the case was unwinnable, and therefore Nnamdi Kanu did not do that, then treason was not committed. But you see, till today, they are still saying, Nigerian government is still saying that he committed treason when it has been struck out. You see why they say that, this continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu is just exposing Nigeria's judicial system, how corrupt they are. Reading on, it says the Nigerian state, in its desperation to silence the Biafra struggle. Let me take that again. It says the Nigerian state, in its desperation to silence the Biafran struggle, resorted to fabricating terrorism charges. So you can see that these people fabricated, terrorism charges against Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Tell me if they did not fabricate it. Why is it for so many years now they cannot come out to say that, to prove that this man is a terrorist? Why have they not come out to or say we found this weapon with him? So it was fabricated. He was being accused. He was being accused. All the insecurity happened in the south is they want to blame it to IPOB just for them to firstly prove that this man is a terrorist. So the Nigerian state, in its desperation to silence the Biafran struggle, resorted to fabricate terrorism charges. These people are doing all in their power to make sure that they silence Biafran struggle. They have now said that they fabricated terrorism charges against Martin Nnamdi Kanu, despite the Federal High Court ruling that IPOB is a lawful organization. Yes, the Federal High Court has said it, that IPOB is a lawful organization. Even Martin Nnamdi Kanu always comes to say it in his trial. You see those people that are impersonating as IPOB and causing violence in the southeast. That is not us. That we have nothing to do with killings. The IPOB is a lawful organization, and his mission and ambition is not to kill, is not to kidnap. All he's saying is that he wants his people to be free from the bondage of Nigeria. That is what Martin Nnamdi Kanu always say. So reading on, it says the ruling was brazenly overturned through firms shopping by Malami, who secured a proscription order from Justice Kafarati from Justice Kafarati's court without granting IPOB the fair hearing guaranteed under Section 36 of Nigeria's constitution. So reading on, it says this act alone exposes the Nigerian judiciary as a tool of oppression rather than a bastion of justice. So the long detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is just exposing Nigerian judicial system as a tool of oppression. Yes, Nigerian government has put them in their pocket. So whatever they say, they will obey. They don't want to obey the constitution again and give out fair hearing and grant fair hearing. It is because of they have given them money, they have bribed them. That is why they have choose to obey Nigerian government than obeying the constitution. Yes, if we have an independent judiciary that is free from all this bribe and free from corruption, they will obey the constitution and they will know that this man has not done anything. If we have independent judiciary that is free from corruption. So now, Nigerian judicial system is a tool of oppression rather than a bastion of justice. Reading on, it says the statement the statement described the stay of execution to overturn a valid judgment reached in a criminal trial that discharged and acquitted Kanu as abuse of judicial process. So you all know that they have acquitted him. So now the statement describes the stay of execution overturned a valid judgment reached in a criminal trial that discharged and acquitted Kanu as an abuse of judicial process. They have said he should be acquitted and granted bail, but Nigerian government, for reasons known to them, because he's an Igbo man, they have kept him there for so long. IPOB insisted that the Nigerian government is desperate to silence a struggle resorted to fabrication of terrorism charges despite the federal government of the Federal High Court clear rulings that the organization is a lawful organization. The federal government has said that this IPOB is a lawful organization, but yet they are still keeping him there, even with his health condition, even knowing that this man has wife, this one has a wife. There's I even wonder how the wife and kids cope. How do they cope with their father or with their husband being in that place for so long? How do they cope? They're not even checking how traumatized these people will be for so many years now. And if anything happens to them, just like that man said, he's going to hunt Nigeria. Oh, he's going to hunt Nigeria because this man is innocent. This man is innocent. If anything happens to them, he's going to, hunt the peace of Nigeria. So this one Nigeria, they keep claiming every time. It's there that will know that there's nothing like one Nigeria. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a prisoner of justice. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a prisoner Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a prisoner of conscience, detained for his unwavering commitment to self-determination of the Biafran people. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said if he cannot, give 247 electricity, 24 hours electricity to his people every day, then his life is useless. If he cannot give home to people that are homeless, his life is useless. If he cannot do many things that will make Igbos comfortable and make Igbos be productive in their own country, then his life is useless. That is why they say that Nnamdi Kanu is detained for his unwavering commitment for the self-determination of the Biafran people. That was the crime he committed. So you can see that this man, because of self-determination is not a crime, then he's innocent, he's a prisoner of conscience, and he has been detained for unwavering commitment to self-determination of the Biafran people. The Nigerian state The Nigerian state has no case against him. Yes, Nigerian state has no case against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Should he ever take the stand to defend himself, the world will witness the unraveling of Nigerians' facade of justice. IPOB is not begging for mercy. We demand justice. God Almighty, the ultimate witness to truth, stands with us. Reading on, under the leadership of our indomitable leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, wishes to address to persistent misinformation of judicial travesty. surrounding his unlawful detention and prosecution. So, guys, you can see what is happening. IPOB has already said it, and they have been saying it that Nnamdi Kanu is not begging for anyone to release him. He demands justice because he's innocent, because he's a prisoner of conscience, and therefore he demands immediate release. He demands justice. And then, if Nigerian government knows what they are doing, if they have conscience, they will compensate that man after releasing him. So, looking at the way things are going, it's looking like Nnamdi Kanu will soon be released. It's looking like that man will soon be released, will soon be out of that place. So let's continue reading, or let's continue watching what this man said. This man said a lot of things. So if you listen to what he said a lot of things that we should even note or have it at the back of our mind towards the plans Nnamdi Kanu has for Nigeria, and also the release. He has also predicted when Nnamdi Kanu will be released, and also the fact that Nnamdi Kanu has no evil mission, that his mission is just to liberate his people from the bondage of
Because
Nigeria.
agitation and what they believe, the Igbos believe, is that they have not had a fair share of what rightly belongs to them in Nigeria over the years, particularly after the Civil War. So efforts to be made to consciously work towards ensuring that those things that they consider as their rights that has not been given to them should be given to them.
So when you say that there should be conscious effort to give things that they say belongs to them, are you saying that other region or other part of the country should be placed on automatic hold, whether qualified or not, because you are trying to pacify a particular part of the country?
Now, let me tell you, there is no part of this country that does not have qualified people. No part of this country. Every part of this country, if you want to locate it on within the precinct of ethnicity, there is no country, nobody in this. No particular section of this country that cannot produce a president, a governor, whatever. Now, the Southwest, after June 12, made conscious efforts. Lives were lost, but not in the magnitude of the Biafra war that lasted 3 years. And the casualty was mostly in the Southwest. But Southwest didn't go to war. The Yoruba didn't go to war, but they also went to war. And that war was won on majority of the people that fought on the pages of newspaper and the media in general. And there was so much pressure on the military that Yoruba will not have anything other than a Yoruba man taking that rightful position that was denied Chief M.K. Abiola. And because of the pressure, both internally and externally, through the formation of NADECO, and funny enough, people forget this history. Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu, was part of NADECO and is from the Southeast extraction.
I remember Nnamdi Kanu.
In fact, I cannot readily remember some of the names now. There were Igbos on the side of NADECO fighting for the right of the Yoruba people, having been denied that presidency by arresting, detaining the winner, the presumed winner, which has become the winner now, because government has said he actually won the election. And Babangida came with his book to say he actually won the election. So that label of presumed has been removed. So it's now
the actual winner of the 1993 elections.
You understand? And one of the things the Yoruba nation extracted from the Federal Republic of Nigeria was that nobody was going to contest that election except Yoruba. And that was why Falai contested against Obasanjo.
Yeah, Olufalaye on this part and Olusegun Obasanjo on the other side.
It's another story if the so-called powerful feudals installed Obasanjo. But the point is, they met the Southwest in a way that agitation came down, because it is still, and to even make it clearer, Obasanjo is from Owu in Egba in Ogun State. Abiola was also from Owu in Egba.
That did not make the people of whether Owu or Egba or Ogun to pull out their might for Obasanjo.
They didn't vote for him.
Exactly, because there are also claims of affiliations and connections with other parts of the country, other regions in the country, which will be another story for another day. Exactly.
As a matter of fact, that line of thought, I don't believe it, because at the point he said he's from Igbo extraction. His father
it's just more about affiliations, not exactly who gave birth to who and exactly.
You know, so I don't want to go into that. But the important thing is, there are lessons to be learned in agitation. For me, a Biafra is still possible, but those working on it needs to go back to the drawing board.
And re-strategize. Okay, Mr. Fanimo, thank you so much for your insight on that particular topic. Very sensitive one, I must say, but the truth is, Nigeria is ours. Nigerians, every one of us, whether you are from the north, east, west, or south, should have equal benefits of this nation that we.
So guys, you heard what that man said. He talked about how all these things started in the past. That the Igbos, they are saying that, they are not being fairly, given what they are supposed to get, even after the civil war. That they have not been fairly shared, what they are in their rights to receive. That was how all these things started. Even till now, if you come to, some people say that if you come to Igbo land, that things are more expensive, things are more high. But when you go to the north, or when you go to Yoruba land, you will see that things are less expensive there, that they make life unbearable for the Igbos. And when you go to their side, life is just being easy there. So you can see that when you come to Igbo land, things are more, some people say that things are more expensive, but other places are cheap. And then when it comes to insecurity, than giving Igbo, good soldiers, they unleash terrorists and then claim that they are soldiers, and they attack the Igbos and kill them. Even after these people has been molested, that they have been molested, they have been, killed, casualties, in the from Igbos, during the civil war. But still, they cannot still at least, help them or compensate them, give them what they want. See, the right thing to do is, the Igbos feel that you have not given us what we are supposed to have. You have not fairly, because they feel that the Northerners have received their own rights fully, and then the Yorubas the same thing. But the Igbos, they are maltreated. They have not been given their full share of what they're supposed to receive in their rights. So that is why, in fact, Igbo is the only tribe I know in Nigeria that has endured the nonsense Nigerian government has been doing, and they have not been saying anything. Imagine if it was the Fulanis, or imagine if it was the Northerners. War will start. But the Igbos are just patient and enduring it. And then let's check, even with how things are expensive in Igbo land, Igbo men are successful. One thing is, apart in all this whole tribe, the only tribe that you can say that they are successful, it's not like the Northerners are not successful, but the only thing that when you come down to the Igbo tribe, Igbo men, even without the unbearable life they are having in this east, it is hard to survive in the east with all the maltreatment and everything. You can see that you will still see many successful Igbo people, because they are hustling. Igbo people are hustlers. That is why Nigerian government doesn't want. That's one of the reasons why they don't want to allow them to be on their own, because they know that they're going to do more than other tribes. Things is going to go well for them. Look at their leader alone. Look at their leader. Look at the Biafran leader, Nnamdi Kanu. That man is a leader that sees. There's nothing like having a leader that sees what will happen tomorrow, that will predict what will happen tomorrow. So when you leave, the people will do well on their own. So now look at when you come to the north, if all these northerners leave their state to Igbo land, you can see that they can't even acquire a land. I know of many Hausa men, that have chaos shop here. Some of them live in their shop for so many years. They live in that small shop, baits there, defecates there. They can't even rent or even buy. None of them have property in Igbo land. But when you see an Igbo man that will leave his, state and go to the north to base, you will see how some of them will have so many lands and properties there. They will have so many things, there's so many properties. But when it comes to in this in northern people coming to the east to base, none of them have property here. For so many years, they live in their kiosk. That's to tell you that even people are, without the whole thing Nigerian government are doing to them, they can still survive. They are very successful when it comes to their business. They're very successful. So, guys, we've come to the end of this live session. As it's looking as things are going with the way Nnamdi Kanu is appearing in court every time, almost every day, it's looking like in 1 month or in 2 months' time, they'll round up and give the final judgment. So, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Put down a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this headline. Thank you for watching.